Hello, good evening, good morning to all those people who are joining in. Hi, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. Can you see me and hear me well? If you can, just put a hi in the chat box. Okay, great. Oh, thank you for confirming that you can see and hear me properly. I am back with Insights with Upgrad, a monthly series I do with amazing speakers who are leaders in their own fields, in the fields of data science, machine learning, technology, software development, and management, product, and digital marketing. And today I have a very special guest with me, Mukesh Jain, who is currently the CTIO of at Capgemini India and has previously worked with the stalwarts in at Microsoft and Jio. Thank you so much, Mukesh, for making time for us today. And thank you to all of you for taking time out to attend this session today. Some very quick rules before we begin with the session. Request you to let us know over chat if there's any video or audio disturbances during the session. And Mukesh will be taking questions at the end of his session. So request you to put down your questions in the Q&A box, the ones that you want Mukesh to pick up at the end of the session. So that's pretty much the two rules. I will quickly go ahead and launch the poll, which will help Mukesh understand how best to deliver his session today. We want to understand your work experience and the outcome you're expecting from today's session. And that will really help us shape the whole session more in a more personalized format. I hope you're able to see the live results, Mukesh.
Yes, I can see. Good.
Okay,
Across all the world, yeah, from 0 years to 15 plus years.
Quickly, I think 50% of you voted already. Thank you. The remaining 50% request you to punch in your votes. Okay, great. About 65% of you have voted, and we have 50%. Okay, Mukesh, the most balanced audience we have seen so far, which is 50% under 5 years and 50% over 5 years of experience. So I think the whole journey that you're going to talk about, the roadmap, is going to help cater to each one of the people attending the session today. And outcome from today's session is more so bent towards getting to know about data science as a field and transitioning the career into this field. Again, I think bang on to what this session has to achieve. Over to you, Mukesh.
Thank you, Medha. Thank you, everybody, for having me. Again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. I'll share my screen. Medha, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Great, great. Happy to be here. I enjoy being interacting with several people across the globe. A bit about myself. 25 plus years experience in the industry. Most of my time was working for Microsoft in US. Had opportunity to work with top guys like Bill Gates, Satya Nadella, and after returning to India, Mukesh Ambani. As a current role as a Chief Technology Innovation Officer, I take care of data technologies, right, and AI. How do we enable people with AI and analytics? Some other thing you'll see. You last week there was an article interview by Express Computer. They interviewed me about how Mukesh we can make data actionable. Article is already there. If you search for Mukesh Jain, you will see those articles. And next week there's an article going to be published by Amazon, which talks about how do we take data to the next level. So lots of opportunity in data. And my journey started 25 years back. and happy to be back in India. Last 10 years, I'm back in India and talking about it. I'll give more details. I also had the honor to write Microsoft's first ever AI algorithm in 1999, 21 years back. I know some of you were not born at that time. But after I came back to India, I decided to start teaching. I've been teaching at IIT, IIM, BITS Pilani. But you all know, right? Teaching has a different charm. But I didn't wanted to leave my corporate job. So I did doing this in parallel. 2 books I published. Hopefully, I'll get time to finish my 3rd book, which is in progress right now. My journey, even though it started in 1995, I was doing a lot of odd jobs, right? My job was, automate small things here and there. But I was always thinking about it. How can I convert that as a rule? How can I collect data? How can I do more about it? And people like, Mukesh, just do something. Just do something. Can you automate this? And automation was wow. 1995, people like, wow, you can automate this. That would be good. And then joining Microsoft after 4 years. And that's where I will say first ever AI algorithm and some of the thing in analytics. I'm sure you all use Outlook, right? Most of you. Outlook was built by me in 1999 when I was at Microsoft. Okay. At that time, I was thinking about how can I do data-driven innovation. Data-driven innovation, even though I did it at that time, even now it's very hot, which means how can I have innovation which is powered by data? After that, 2006, I realized that Microsoft started losing business to Google, some of the business, not all, Hotmail, Bing and all. And that's where I realized, oh, no. It's not about innovation. It's about compete. How do you compete with analytics? So my journey moved, because imagine, right, 95, 99, the base is same. Base is still the data. Okay. And then doing this piece, started getting deep into those, came back to India 2011, worked for Microsoft, Jio and NICE, and then started realizing, no, I think it's more about teaching and coaching people. And that's where the focus was, how can I bring data culture? Now, if I look at this, my journey, I soon realized that it's in all of those things about data and all, it is a culture. I call it data literacy. About 6 months back, I was invited by IBM for a conference as a speaker, and I talked about data literacy, how it can happen. And after that, recently, about 2.5 years back, I joined Capgemini as a Chief Technology Innovation Officer to focus in future of data. Now, in this whole journey, we'll talk more about how the industry is moving more and more towards data, and also touch upon some of the elements, some of the major life-changing element for me, and some real example which you use or see every day. Now, I'm sure you would have seen this. About 9 years back, Harvard Business Review talked about the sexiest job of 21st century. It's still true. Okay. Now, if you look at it, Bloomberg last year talked about similar $500 billion economy. If the economy is so much for these areas, of course, jobs are there, right? The shortage of data scientists is the biggest concern nowadays. Even at Capgemini, recently we have announced 30,000 people we are going to hire, out of which about 5,400 are primarily from data science. This all in 1 year. That you can imagine how much demand we have on conversion part. And of course, similarly for other companies as well. Now, slowly it's becoming mainstream. Slowly. You might argue, oh, Mukesh, you did algorithm 21 years back. No, yes, that time it was what it was. But now it's becoming easier because of cloud, because of compute. How much fast you can have a better compute, better memory, better tools, and of course, courses like upgrade and all. So I think over a period of time, things have moved. Things have moved in a direction where it become more and more accessible. When I did my engineering, 1995, computer engineering was just started. I finished my engineering at that time, but that time there was nothing about data, nothing about AI. So far I've been teaching, I've been doing data analytics, but recently about 2 years back, I got my formal degree on analytics. MTech in analytics I did recently from BITS Pilani. Okay, but then my whole journey, I think things are more and more becoming more and more easier for people to compute, to learn new things. So how to compute better and faster using data analytics. Now, what is evolved? What is the ask? Industry are expecting certain things from each one of us. Some of you may have seen during the pandemic, several companies have laid off some people. What are these people who have been laid off? These are not the people, the regular people. They're not just all the performance reason. Most of these people are people who are not able to upgrade themselves to digital technologies, to the data technology. So it becomes more and more important. So now if you look at it, right, 0 to 2 years, getting into the mainstream early. When you get it early, you are more robust, more rock solid compared to people with 7, 8 years 10, 12 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. I've been coaching several people in India, but that segment, what is expected? They expect, do you understand data? Can you come up with more value for data? That's what the expectation is. Ability to leverage data for business value. Okay. Do you understand the analytics model? Okay. And this is the question, third question, which I'm sorry to say that a lot of people, when I interview, they miss out. Do you understand how things work? You could be from software, you could be from electronics, you could be from any domain. I'm sure you're using Google Maps, not now, but non-pandemic time. I'm sure you have used it. I'm sure you use Uber. I'm sure you use Netflix, Amazon. You use all the product. Every product use analytics. If somebody asks you how things work, are you able to tell why did I get a recommendation? I'm going to use some of the examples today. You'll get an idea about, wow, such a rock solid recommendation goes in the background. No wonder they are paying the highest money for the data scientists. Netflix, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and so on. Right? Ability to come up with the idea. Are you able to understand the situation and coming up with the idea that, yes, I can solve this problem using these techniques and all? That is what is more and more expected. So every company, like for example, at Capgemini, when I'm working for Fortune 500 companies, right? They don't come and say, Mukesh, do this for us. They get, Mukesh, what can be done in this area? And I, as a leader, I, as a CTIO, or anybody with 12, 15 years experience, they're expected to say that, yes, this can be possible and we can do it in this way. It is very simple. If somebody tells you, do these 10 things and you do it, that's given. But if you state 10 things and you say, by the way, you can do it differently. That thought leader is what is expected, coming up with the ideas and opportunities. How to solve a particular problem with data is expected by everybody. And most important, upskilling, continuous learning. Now, companies are expecting more and more people to be learning continuously, right? At any moment in time, I'm learning as well on several platforms. Something or the other I'm learning. As I said, right, 2 years back, people asked me, Mukesh, at 23 years experience level, at that time 23 years, why do you want to do MTech now? I said, why not? I want to continue to learn. Because at some point you will start seeing the phrase being changed. Jack of all trade, master of some. It is expected as you go senior level, you need to understand all the elements. There are times when CEO calls me, hey Mukesh, what about this technology? And there are times where I've said, I don't know, I'll get back to you. But now the expectation is, because you know everything. The expectation is increasing more and more to be more involved, new things happening and everything from the senior roles. So combination of junior role, senior role, we're talking about here now. Now the next question you have, what kind of jobs are available? By the way, the roles and jobs are across. If you're a technology person and you want to remain in technology, yes, big data engineer, data architect, software engineer, solution engineering. These are some good jobs you can take. Let's say you are from non-software background, or you are from software background, but you want to do something in statistics. You're good at numbers and you love mathematics. You love statistics. Data scientist, data analyst. Okay. I'm a computer science background. I've done big data engineering. I've done software architect. I've done data scientist role. I've done product manager role. And now I'm a CTO. I've done the whole journey. Doesn't mean that everybody have to do it. To become CTO, I took 21 years. Some of you can become CTO probably in 12 years, 14 years as well. Because now more and more opportunities are you are getting it to run faster. For me, I was changing jobs. I was going to US and everything. I did research for some time. I did my own time. But you might be able to do it faster than that. Now, on the business side, you could be a person from a non-engineering background and you're thinking, I understand the business. Think about product manager, product owner. Now, somebody is interviewing you. Somebody asks you, this e-commerce site or this particular app, how can you add 2 new features? Can you come up with that idea? Somebody say, can I use data and get a better output? Don't just think about cross-sell, upsell. Sir, aapko loan chahiye kya? Do you want to have personal loan or credit card? Those are all, I would say, poorly managed data science algorithms. Why is it poorly? Why am I getting the calls all the time? Why are you getting the calls all the time? Right? Poorly managed. But if it is very, very accurate, you can predict next best action. If this particular person is on my site, I will know what is the best offer to be given to the person so that the conversion rate is higher than 50%. Those are some of the expectations from the business side of it. the product manager, product owner, business analyst, looking at the situation, yes, let us do this. Is 20 rupees cashback on Paytm or $20 cashback, 20% cashback or 20 rupees cashback? Which one is better? You might think both of them are same, 100 rupees. Yes, both of them are same 100 rupees. But can you find out the psychology of the person, of what target audience you have, and will they work better than other? Those are all some of the decisions you'll be taking as a marketing person. Business development. When you're going to the client, you can't say, tell me what to do and I will do it. No, you don't go that way. It's very funny. When I was interviewed at Capgemini, I told them I've done pretty much all the roles except sales. My CEO started laughing. And I said, why are you laughing? He said, nothing. So now I know why he was laughing. Last 2.5 years, I've been doing a lot of business development, a lot of sales. Even though my role is Chief Technology Innovation Officer, focus is on innovation. But when I'm talking to client, by the way, you can do innovate in this area. Half of the time, I get more business from the client. Pre-sales, right? And of course, the management side of it, the data science head, the senior management, the business head, CTO, CIOs, CDO, those roles. So you could be getting into one of the roles. You have to determine, you have to decide what target role you are going to be. I would say if you are a fresher, start from the right side. You can jump to business also, no question there. But if you start with some technology or statistics, it's always a good way to start for you. Now, you might ask, why do you need data science? We all have choice. We are spoiled for choice. Okay. Now you take out your mobile and try to book Uber. You get this a message. How long are you going to wait? 7.2 seconds average for India, 4.4 second average for US, 4.3 second average for Europe, and 2.1 second average for Japan. If that is your threshold of waiting for a particular app to respond, are you going to wait more than that? No. You'll jump onto another app, Ola or Lyft or somewhere, depending on which location you are in, you'll jump to another app because you have a choice. Because you have choice, like between eBay or Amazon, or in India, Amazon and Flipkart, or in US, Zomato and some other app. In India, Zomato or Swiggy. Each of the app have an option for you to choose which one you want to take if something is not provided. Because the expectation is anytime, anywhere, on any device. That has been the mantra for Microsoft for a long time. I was there for 13 years, so that is something which is very, very in my mind. When you think about anytime, anywhere, which means you need to be ready. Now think about it. When you were trying to book Uber and it did not load, or you did not get the right offer or right deal over there or right path over there, did you call them and say that, hey, it didn't work? No, right? You just move on to another application. The analytics is required. Understanding is required why you did it, what you did it. Okay, because there's a growing need that I want my people, once they come, they should not leave without making a business transaction there. And that's how they're competing with business. Okay. Now you might have seen this. This is the scientist Cano, and this slide, by the way, very old slide. I got this slide probably 17, 18 years back. I'm keeping the same slide, old slide. Why? Because you can relate to that now. About 17, 18 years back, if you were able to get email on your phone, people will say, wow, you can do email on the phone. Now, do you go to the shop, or do you go to Amazon and say, I should be able to do email on the phone? You don't, right? You don't even use the word smartphone nowadays. But that's how the evolution happened. Cano suggested things which are good to have, like more or delight or something satisfied. Over a period of time, everything becomes must have. So everything moves to must have, which means if that doesn't happen, people will stop buying it. How do you know? How do you monitor? Data. Same thing with data. Now you will notice few things will go up, few things will come down. Why? Because you want more feature, more comfort, better quality, better user experience, but at the less time, less money spent, less steps, and so on. Now, first question people come mind. Yes, I understand. Data is important. You take decision. Every app you take decision. But when you are on the meeting room, when you are discussing, sometimes you might observe, and I use the word sometime, not all the time. Sometime. How are some of the decisions made? HIPPO, highest individual paid person's opinion. What does that mean? HIPPO means you are having somebody take a decision just because the person is highly paid without looking at the data. I had my own experience across the organization. I used to create a soft toy. I don't have it right now, but I used to have a soft toys, a hippopotamus soft toy with hippo written and then text below that. And I used to keep that in the conference room. Whenever somebody make a decision without data, I would take the hippo and show it to them. We need to reduce those. Why? Because look at the decision. Which ad to be shown at depending on the search. We're doing some search. What ad to be shown? Should I show Pizza Hut? Should I show Domino's? Should I do Burger King? Considering you are not clicked on Burger King for quite some time, but I'm showing you, should I continue to show a sixth time? Maybe not. Domino's is giving more money than Pizza Hut. Should I put Domino's? Maybe, maybe not. How do you decide? Decide based on data, based on analytics, based on prediction. That probability of Mukesh clicking this at 7 p.m. in the evening is this much. That's how you calculate the probability part. Think about loan, home loan, credit transaction. Should I give loan or not? Should I give the credit card or not? Machine learning, forecasting, logistic regression, whether the likelihood of somebody repaying the loan or defaulting on the credit card. This is an interesting one. Show next on the video app. Few months back, I was trying to watch YouTube. I got nostalgic. I wanted to watch some 30-year-old video. I'm not that old, by the way. I was trying to watch the 30-year-old video, and it was good. It was happening. I was too lazy to press the stop button. It automatically went to the next video from the same era, 30 years old song. I loved it. Probably that day I listened to all the songs for almost 2 hours. I'm sure YouTube made good money out of that. But why did I listen for 2 hours? Because the recommendation was fine, automatically coming with you. I never said play this playlist. I did not. It automatically. Understanding the intent and doing it. Recommendation, e-commerce. Do you know 65% of the sale on Amazon books happened because of recommendation engine? 65%. That's a lot of number. You go there to buy one book, you end up buying 3 books. 2, 3, 65%, 63%, and 133%, approximately. That's how powerful it is. No wonder they pay heavy salaries for the data scientists. Supply chain. During the pandemic time, I was consulting a couple of companies in Europe. You know, right? Small countries in Europe. And you can travel from one country to other country in probably 12 hours. Like, 3 countries you can cross. Supply chain was hit because of pandemic. Now, I quickly created an algorithm, querying the government website, getting the data, and then making it my model. Hey, by the way, you want to go from this country to that country? You better take this route from this country rather than that country because of pandemic. Supply chain, so that it doesn't disrupt. Of course, you also saw supply chain, right? In India, when the vaccines came in, right? So all those things, part and parcel of data, analytics, machine learning, all of those things heavily working. Okay, and of course, the movie. During pandemic, a lot of movie had a challenge. I'm consulting one of the American movie house, helping them to determine which movie to be released at what time. Either to go for Netflix or Amazon Prime, or directly go to theater, or wait for a few more months for the theater. And last but not the least, why are people listing my app? Giving them understanding is what is required for people to know very well. I'm going to quickly cover some more example, and then we'll open up for questions. Now, when we talk about data, right? So data is what? It is qualitative and quantitative measurement. Okay, qualitative. Yeah, the ride was good, but it was not good. The packaging was not that great. Quantitative, 1 to 5. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rating, yes, no, good, bad, fine. It could be structured or unstructured. I cannot say, hey, I'm going to look at data. I mean, data is numeric. I'm sure when you think about data, you see numeric, Excel, CSV. That's not true. That's not true. 96.1% of the data in the world is unstructured. Yeah, that's a lot of data unstructured. That's why it's a good timing to get into that when you're trying to make it, either structure it or try to make meaning out of it. That's what the future is, unstructured data as well. Or because every activity and inactivity generates data. Most of the reference material you will see, it will talk about every activity generates data. I don't agree with that. Just check yourself. 8 p.m. India time. Okay, 10:30 a.m. New York time. 7:30 a.m. California time. You started this call. You started being on this call, right? And you have not checked your WhatsApp since then. People trying to reach you seen last thing. That's your inactivity. Your inactivity also generates data. That's what you have to think that when you're thinking about data, right? Because data tells a lot about somebody. Let's take an example. 2020. What is 2020? Right? 2020 is cricket in India, right? No. 2020, there is a talk show in UK. 2020, there is weight loss program in US. 2020, there is a Parley biscuit. 2020, there is Vision 2020. And 2020, there is a book by Dr. Abdul Kalam. If 2020 has so much meaning, when you do a search on Bing or Google, how does they know? What are you looking for? Intent, right? So those are all things together because your data is giving something then. All with data privacy laws respected of the respective countries. I'm sure you are seeing, right? A lot of these things are happening now. I'm also part of NITI Aayog committee in India who drafted the data protection law, and I contributed my feedback and other things to say that these are the things which should happen or which should not happen. Okay, the law is now out. I'm sure some of everybody will have to implement those. The privacy is utmost important. Even while respecting the privacy laws, you can do certain things with data to give better experience. Because ultimately, if you're not doing that, it's all useless. You have to put dollar or rupee symbol around that. Now, when you talk about analytics, right? The whole scientific process, how can I derive insights from that? How can I make it extensive use of facts, data, statistical model? This is Wikipedia definition of analytics. You need to be very, very clear that it is a model. It's not just programming. It's not just Python. It's a whole thing about statistics, data. How do you drive decision? And most important, business value. It has to boil down to business value. Otherwise, it's all useless. If I have to draw a pyramid, like you start with a bottom. You don't start with data, by the way. You start with measurement. Why measurement? Because how does the data come in the first place? Data doesn't come automatically, by the way. Data has to be measured. Somebody has to measure. Somebody has to write that one line of code which will capture the data. Happy to say that some of the work I've done at Microsoft was about measurement. Same thing I did it for Reliance Jio coming here, and now same thing I'm doing for several Fortune 500 clients globally at Capgemini. Measurement. How do you measure certain things? Then comes the data, information, insight. The whole thing continue. As you become data scientist, you will be focusing mostly on the data, information, insights, and all. But if you're a data engineer, you'll also take care of the measurements part of it. Okay, and then it continues. And then the seniority comes into picture. How can you do predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics? Because ultimate goal is how can you enable the business decision maker to take decisions. Once you take a decision, you need to take an action. Boom, you get results. So from data to insights, insight to decision to action, that's the whole journey you'll be driving through. And at each phase, at each stage, you'll be playing around with the data, you'll be cleaning up, and you'll be building model. All those things you'll do, and you achieve action. Now, all of those things will be specific to either banking or insurance or manufacturing or telecom. It could be any field. Utility. In fact, nowadays I'm doing like some of the work. You might have seen an article I posted yesterday. I've done doing some work in sustainability. Like how can we use data? How can we provide insights in sustainability area as well? Okay. And here are some of the examples. Let me start with this first example. I'm sure you have seen this, right? If you look at Notepad, in menu you see file, edit, format, view, standard one, right? Now go back and see your PowerPoint. Look at the menu item. Excel, PowerPoint, Word, and all those. How it was done? I was part of Microsoft Office. Year 2000, I said, it is taking some steps are taking as high as 7 steps to get to a certain point. Menu item, 7 menu, click, 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 click to get to a point. I said, can we do something? Can we collect the data and understand? Identify top 25 tasks so that I can pretty much cover everything in 1 click or maximum 2 clicks. I would say I wouldn't 100% succeed, but 98% of the tasks can be done in 1 click or 2 click in Office application. Data. Collecting the data as user behavior. So it's not just about predicting, it's about how can you build it for anything else. It was done. Again, it helps innovate further. And this was the menu item, as you can see earlier, menu. Now it's more of a ribbon. And you will see, depending on what you are typing or you're doing on any of the screen, the menu keep changing on the top. That's again to bring it 1 click. That 1 click experience if you want to bring it. I'm sure you have used search. I was curious. I said, why is the color of search is blue? The links. I got obvious answer. Oh, okay, it's a link. But why blue? Why not green? Why not yellow? Why not purple? Why not something else? the general manager said, okay, what do you have in mind? I said, I don't know the answer. Can we run an experiment? Can we run an analytics experiment? We call it experimentation. Can we run an experiment to see which shade of blue gives better results? They like it. We ran an experiment for 2 weeks. 10 different shades of blue were given. You might think that's very obvious. Yes, analytics. Some of the things you can do analytics, it could be as simple as that. But as long as it's driving value, why not? So we changed the color of the blue. 10 different shades, 10% people were given these shades. And we got some output and we saw the 9th darker shade of Bing, the blue color, 9 darker shade of blue on Bing gave us better click-through rate. We changed the color to the darker shade. For some countries, not for all. And other countries, lighter shade was giving better results. So depending on those things, getting the insight, the false positive, false negative, the precision, recall, all of those things have to be done to get better accuracy. I already talked about e-commerce. The recommendation, what you did, what you purchased, what you browse, again coming, what are other people doing? Everything is all about data. All of the data is collected whenever you browse. Sometimes you browse just for price comparison. Sometimes you browse for features, and sometimes you really purchase. A combination of that is collected, and see, people who have purchased this have also purchased that. Market basket analysis, this versus that combination, all those things are part and parcel of data science. The more people understand data science, the better ideas they get, and then better recommendation. I love recommendation coming on Amazon. I love recommendation coming on YouTube. These are some really good recommendations, and I can use that right away. Okay. I'm sure you have seen this standard report. When I came up with the idea, I was told that's the most pathetic idea I ever heard. Still worked it. You click the standard report. The purpose was to collect the data and find out pattern that, what is the trend going on, and all using analytics. This was something I done in 1999, 2000, and we were able to find out. And that's why you see now it doesn't crash as so much compared to it was crashing earlier. Junk filter. This was something I did it for Bill Gates. He used to get 15, 16,000 junk email. And I should keep telling that, hey, junk senders are smarter than us. You have to do better than a typical model business rule of if this keyword that they junk or not. So when I came up with this idea, it was a very, very simple algorithm I did. We were able to catch 94% of the junk of Bill Gates. Of course, it was improvised after that. But you can imagine how easy it becomes if you are using artificial intelligence in getting this done, because you need to have those understanding about. And I can share the algorithm, very simple algorithm. You have to find pattern. Instead of pattern of email, if you find pattern of human interaction with the email, that's the difference it was. Okay, so that's how you have to start innovating. And all these ideas I get is because of data. If your data is in your mind, data is in your blood, you'll be always thinking about data everywhere, right? So in conclusion, the data literacy is going to become more and more prominent. Everybody will be expected to be a lot more data literate. And yes, the people will be getting more jobs are created in this area now than ever. And you can search for yourself on LinkedIn. You'll see how many jobs are available there. Like as I mentioned, like Capgemini is hiring big time, 5,400 just in India. And globally, we are hiring another 2,000 people. So that's how kind of demand we're talking about in data science field. Now, data quality, like more and more data quality features are coming in. Now, you could be in the data engineering part and you want to continue that, why not? But if you understand how data science works, you get those modeling part and understood, now you can build those data quality management tools and techniques and all to make it work. Proactive, predictive, augmented analytics. I'm sure you have heard about augmented reality. Augmented analytics is the next big thing. Reduce time to insights. Insights as a service. Analytics as a service. People are now getting more and more there without compromising on sharing the data. These are most of the ones. One of the product I have created at Capgemini. It's called 890-890. It provides that insights as a service. So now, if people are going more and more toward insights as a service, how can we make it easier for people to consume it? No longer people have time. Oh, give me this, I'll create a report after 1 week. No, people want it now. And then building a system, you cannot wait for 6 months for the system to be built. You want it done now, faster. Tighter alignment between human and machine. Of course, I'm seeing that happening. More and more digital ethics will be prominent. Governance, trust will be more obvious. Ethics will be more important. And the roles of data scientist, chief data officer, chief analytic officer are getting mainstream. Okay. So if I have to summarize, next 30 technology for the next decade, talking about artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, mobile, each one of them is using data to a larger and larger extent. Okay, of course, there are other things also which are there on the list. With that, let me pause here. Let me see what questions you have. I can answer some of the questions, and we'll hopefully be able to give more clarity on what the future looks like for data science. Over to you, Medha.
Thank you so much, Mukesh, for beautifully covering the various opportunities that are in this field, and also for telling the audience that it is not as much as sitting in front of a computer and coding, and more about managing people and ideas. So thank you for bringing that up in the presentation. Cool. Let's move on to the Q&A box here. The first question we have from Sri Vikram is that, what's the opportunity for data science in education sector? And of course, being one in one myself, of course, there's humongous opportunities. And I think each of the things that Mukesh mentioned about, even the colors that he experimented with, right? The 10 different range of colors, so much. I mean, that's just one part of it. How do you get more people to opt for your the courses that you're offering, etc.? So, Mukesh, I'll allow you
Sure.
to
Yeah.
delve into
So
it.
I would say three major part on education front. Of course, upgrade is one of the great example, right? How do you know? How do you find out the need, and how do you get those people doing the course? That is one part. Definitely no question there. The second part, which I experimented is some of the university. I'm advisor to 9 universities. Upgrade is one of them. So one of the things which I found very, very useful is understanding the skills of the person and assessment, and using artificial intelligence and machine learning ability to prove that this is what the thing will be better for that particular person. Okay, that kind of experiments can be done in that area. That's the second part of it. And third part of it, right? Not every, like for example, you might have seen that everybody goes through probably standard set of courses throughout their school days. But now there's the innovation in happening in that area as well. That what are the other abilities people can learn depending on the cognitive skills and ability. And in early years, you can test it and then validate it and all. And those are some of the area I'm seeing. I'm consulting a couple of companies in that area as well. And that is the future growth I'm seeing in the areas of education sector. So these are three one very, very well. I'm not counting the traditional one, which are scanning the answer sheet and converting them into this or some other way. These are all standard, which are now utility nowadays.
Got it. Thank you. Moving to the next one. It's from an anonymous attendee. With data and analytics now being predominant and companies hiring all the way, 5 to 10 years down the line, would it not stagnate the growth of people entering into it, or would the roles not stagnate?
Very good question, and you are right. The same question was asked to me 30 years back. Okay, you're getting into computers. After some time, computers will. After I joined computers with the dot-com boom, everybody said, "Oh, now it's stagnated. Nothing. People losing jobs." When I computer started, right, 30 years back, I know several politicians also mentioned in India that what about the jobs? So people will lose job, and we know which is the biggest job creator. So I'm not saying it will not stagnate. It could stagnate, but the thing is, you are now shaping the industry. I'm in the computer industry for 25 years. People 30 years are also there. So it has evolved over a period of time. So things will keep evolving. Now it is artificial intelligence. After that, it will be common sense intelligence. After that, something else could come in. So I think you will be one of the first few people to embrace that and then take it forward, because now is the time it's actually taking the exponential growth. So ride the wave and then you can decide. 10 years, I definitely don't think 10 years long nowadays. It's 3 to 5 years. That's it.
Got it. And of course, as Mukesh mentioned, right, the kind of roles that were available then, it's also evolving. So there's so many more technologies which are coming up, and you always need to upskill yourself to be able to be a part of those technologies, and which is why you will not be redundant even if you enter today.
Yes.
Uh, Aryan is asking that I have a management background, but now my career, during my career break, I have started laying my hands on data science, and I will be doing my master's in supply chain management after completing my data science. Okay. And I will I'm interested in coming back to work in data science as a field. Now, how do I, what should the path be that I use after I complete my master's from the university?
Okay. So there are, so I think you mentioned three different points over here, and I would say a combination is very good and lethal, I would say. Management background, supply chain, and you've taken a break, which clearly shows you're passionate about learning. Okay. So people who have taken break learning, or people who are doing it in parallel to their job, these are valuable, respected people, as I mentioned, upskilling and all are considered very positively in the industry. So now when you're doing all this part, supply chain analytics, if you just search it, by the way, you can go and search on LinkedIn, the kind of jobs available, like niche jobs and very, very advanced. By the way, one of the students at Upgrade just got hired into Fright Tiger. Okay. And exactly my answer to him was, I was coaching him for 3 days and I coached him on specifically on supply chain. And he cracked the interview and he had basic understanding of supply chain, and he got very good offer, by the way. So this is something, is the demand is there. And you can imagine that the freight industry, even in India, right, lot more things. Trains have started using, Indian freight trains have started using analytics. Supply chain is enormous. How fast can you route? How do you routing and all? Data is available. You just need to have eyes and the thinking power to extract and use the data. So I think you're doing it the right way. The opportunities are huge. Don't just go for the supply chain title. Look for supply chain words in the LinkedIn jobs, and you'll be able to find those good opportunities.
Great. Thank you for that suggestion, Mukesh. I see quite a few interesting questions from people who with senior experience, right? More than 15 years of experience. We had a good number of attendees today. One anonymous question is, how do I transition into a senior data scientist role without experience in data per se, but I have 15 years plus experience in Oracle financials? Now,
okay. So you have to think from this angle, like, first of all, why do you want to become a senior data scientist? Is that your passion for data, or is the role which excites you, or the title, right? It could be any combination. Your experience of 15 years in Oracle Financial is your asset. Don't forget about that. So you have to build on the asset and think about it. In the last 15 years, how many times have you done insights on the data? How many times you have done trend line? How many times you have done in understanding? Now, with data layer on top of it, you're able to give more value. Okay. Now people looking at it, wow, the person is really good at financials, and now with data, he'll be able to help us do better prediction. Yes, one of the roles could be senior data scientist. I'm sure people will love to hire you, but think about other roles also. Program manager, head of data science team. Those roles are also there. So for example, I am hands-on even today, but nobody will pay me that salary which I'm drawing. I'm not going to tell what salary I'm drawing. Nobody will pay me that salary for doing data science work today. But they will hire me so that I can give the ideas to people. And there are 10, 20, 30 people. I'm talking about 16,000 people who work with my team. They can work on it and they can build those models. So you have to decide which level you want to get into those. But if I don't understand analytics, what people will say, oh, Mukesh, this is not how it works. And even from 5 years from now, I should be able to tell people, do you want me to code? And for that, I need to be continuously updating.
correct. Thank you for that. Onik is asking, I have 16 years plus experience in the IT industry. How can I shift my career to business analysts, product owners, and all the allied functions that you just mentioned from being a functional consultant?
Good point. I would say you have to think about yourself, how many times you have ideas. And I'll give you the interview. I'm leaking the interview question which I normally take. If I'm hiring a product manager or a business analyst, I ask this question: which is your favorite app? Choose any of your favorite mobile app. And then I ask, add two new features. And both the features should be using data analytics. If you're able to answer that question, you are ready. If not, you still have some work to do.
Got it. Thank you. All right, I see so many anonymous questions. It'll be great if we could know who's asking these questions. Also, let us know which country you're from, so that just brings in more geographical relevance into answering the questions as well. Got it. I'll take something on the beginner side of questions now. Kiran is asking, how can I shift from being a data analyst to being a data scientist?
So if you're already a data analyst, I think you have already covered, I would say, 30% of the journey. Okay. Now, data analyst, you have had experience of data, working with data. That's good. But then the machine learning is, see, it's, people say it's the extension. No, not necessarily. Even if you have zero background in data, you can still get into data science. The ability to find patterns in the data, okay, and then getting this out will be better for you. So now you know how to write SQL queries, which is good. Now you know how to handle data, which is good. But now when you understand that these are the 12 different models for this problem, this model can be used, then how you can do further and then get the value, that is something you will be able to guide the team by understanding more on data science. That is what I would suggest. And yes, people with data and analyst background and all, that's a most common question I've heard people asking, by the way.
Got it. One question is, how can an economics major, or there are multiple such questions where people who are not into data science currently can move into data science. My recommendation there, Bilal, would be that you start with a program like Upgrad's Data Science program, which is sort of custom made for people who are trying to transition their career into data science. And here you get an opportunity to lay your hands on live projects, right? And those live, while working on those live projects, you can, the things you learn, you can add those to your CV. And because you won't have something which says data science or statistics major, etc., in your CV, these projects will help you maybe gain that first interview slot with the companies, with the kind of companies that you want to work at. And then later we also have 360-degree career assistance, with people like Mukesh guiding you to how to crack interviews while sitting in that interview room.
Yep.
Okay. There's so many questions. Data science in the field of biology or botany? Very interesting question.
Life science, healthcare, and all. It's becoming more and more prevalent now. Just recently, of course, my major focus always has been in finance projects, but I'm now doing a lot of projects in life science also. 3 projects right now. My team is working on right now, and I'm fully involved there. It's becoming more and more important because, see, even today, not many people are aware of how the pandemic started, where it started. Yeah, there are a lot of people have some theories and all, but important element is now with some of the part, right? Contact tracing. We build the application within 2 weeks, contact tracing, and then we use on the company, right? AI, mass detection, all those simple things are there. But for specifically for healthcare, biology, botany, and all, we did something for recently for Netherlands. Netherlands, there are farms of roses gardens and tulips and all those. We created an algorithm. A drone will fly over the field, determine the quality of roses and all. Good use of computer vision, good use of drone technology, and able to detect whether there's an insect at that precision, as an insect on that particular flower or not. Those kind of precision you can have. And of course, if you see something has been, something wrong is happening and all, and can be alerted. And all. A lot of those things happening in the botany area, especially in the area of human life science. It is slowly moving, but moving. Why slowly? Because it takes time to experiment, and you cannot just experiment on anybody. That's why it takes time. But a couple of projects I've done, some of the PhD students I was coaching, we are able to now predict with a reasonable accuracy. I would say reasonable, not high, reasonable, when person is going to get diabetes or cholesterol kind of diseases. So those are all possible. So huge opportunity in this area. It's all about how much data you can collect with that.
Very interesting. Something very new I learned today. So moving to the next question, Piyush is asking specifically to your current role at Capgemini, what skills does your organization look at when they look at hiring for senior roles in data science?
Curiosity, attitude, and of course, data science skill. Curiosity. Yes. Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? Curiosity. Attitude. Yes, it's possible. Yes, let's do this. Okay. And the third one, of course, you need to have data science skill. So combination of these 3 are required. Data science, yes, a data will be given to you. Will you be able to get some output, top down, bottom up? Is scenarios there? I want to increase sale of my e-commerce site. What would you do? Most of the answer I get, I'm going to give more discounts. Come on, this is a data science interview. Instead of directly jumping, you could have come up with a better modeling there. Or bottom up. I have the data. What can I do with the data? So those kind of combination, if you're able to answer, you will be selected for the senior roles. Because junior role, will be typically for how well can you code, how well can you understand the model. But senior role, can you come up with the idea? Do you have the problem solving capability? Do you have that attitude about data? Are you always talking about data? That is what is required.
A follow up to that question: does somebody need to know and be very well versed with data science, DSA, data structures and algorithms?
See, data structures and algorithm, and once people start learning, and that's where I see, if you tell somebody go and learn data science and algorithms, they might have questions. They'll say yes or no and all those. But if you do the other way around, when they're learning data science, and then say, wow, this is good. I can, if I change this algorithm, I can get better results. Data structure is important. That's where they get good curiosity of learning. See, I've been teaching for more than 10 years in India, and that's how I actually create that interest for new topics rather than directly going and teaching data structures and algorithms. But it does help, because after some time, when algorithm is taking 6 hours, and after that, it's, oh, I made this small mistake, you definitely want to improvise on your data structures and algorithm skills. And this is something which you can learn faster.
Got it. Yeah, because it forms a very critical part of our, preparatory module and the initial part of the modules of our programs. So I now understand why it's, really.
By the way, just an FYI, last week I was teaching at one of the management's college. They didn't have data structure, but now they introduced data structure and algorithm for management students as well. It's the mindset, it's the algorithm, it's the problem solving capability. You'll be able to learn more.
Interesting. Great. There are so many questions. Really sorry if we won't be able to take up all of them. You are free to reach out to us at admissions@upgrad.com and let us know if there was any question left out. Alex is asking, where does Mukesh think the biggest innovations in data science are happening currently? He's given an example of machine vision. What are the hottest research topics?
See, hottest research topic is probably beyond the discussion of this topic is in the areas of thoughts. Can you intercept thoughts? Okay, I know it's a little advanced. I've done some research in this area and all, and answer is possible. But I think we have to take baby steps and all. I don't know whether it is to be good or not. Ethically, may not be right. Ethically, but you don't know. But at least if I can draw a line and say, if I can understand the emotions of the person, okay, and then I can do, I think that will be maybe it will helpful for some treatment, especially with treatments related to depression, anxiety and all. That could be helpful. So anyway, these are some of the things to be done. I've done an experiment for people watching a show and able to get the expression and all, and that actually help the company there. But again, you have to draw a line, and that's where the ethics come into picture, to draw the line.
Absolutely. So, okay, so this could become like a neuroscience plus data science.
Yes.
Interception there. Great. I think we're already done with a few questions. How can a 16 plus year experienced professional from a non-IT domain transition into a data science
See, I
domain?
would say first and foremost, right? Once you learn data science, you learn all algorithms and all, and you have to see what part of your 16 years experience you can capitalize further. Okay. Yes, you can become data scientist. You can do hands-on and all. You will love it, by the way. But if you think no, I don't want to go hands-on again. I want to remain in management. You can directly jump into data science head of something for that particular business for the 16 years experience you have gained. Because now, as I mentioned, right, you should be able to ask and challenge the team when they're coming to you and say, oh, there's a quality issue. Then you will ask, is it false positive or false negative quality issue? Will, oh, the person knows everything. Okay. Second part, if you like coming up with the ideas and do something more, you could be getting into the program manager or product manager role where you can get more value. I think the combination is good, and slowly, it's not mandatory today, but slowly, what happened 20 years back, if you want to get into CXO role, computers was required. Now it's mandatory, right? But now it's not yet. But after a few years, if you want to get into CXO role, data science will be required. So getting it early makes it easier. It will differentiate for you compared to other people, especially after 15 years experience.
Interesting. Um, are are there any roles for project management in data science domain? So what do I need to upskill from a skill set point of view? Does a PMP hold ground here?
Okay. So it is very interesting because I've done a lot of research in that. I'm a PMP, I'm also a Scrum Master, and I've written a book, How Project Management Can Use Data. Okay. The delivering successful project is all about that. How we can use data, and that actually uses machine learning. Okay. So if you are thinking about this part, that you have the data, you have a lot of data, and if you apply machine learning technique, you can and do clustering technique there, you can actually find out when this project is going to have problem or not. I applied this in Microsoft 2004 to 2007. 96% of the projects were delivered on time after that, because of the machine learning, because of the predictability I was able to bring in with data using machine learning.
Great. I see one very cohesive and comprehensive question being asked. Being a core embedded engineer for about 9 years, I want to pursue my career in data science now. And given I need approximately 1 year to get a good level of understanding in data science, the first question he is asking is how receptive is this industry for people with 10 years of experience switching now, and second question is an MTech degree helpful and relevant in making that switch?
I would say 10 years is a good, I don't think MTech matters as much. I have done MTech because I wanted to get into PhD and I wanted to make it simpler for me to get it. Unless you want to do that, MTech is okay, right? 10 years, you have already proven multiple times. Yes, with data science, it depends whether you want to ride that wave of data. Like after some time, right, when you're being selected for a director or vice president position, what is the chances that you're going to lose that position because you have no or you don't know data science or AI? Okay, think from that angle. I'm not saying everybody will lose that. Somebody might get a position even without that. No questions that it's possible. But will that be better for you to know? Do you agree? First of all, most of the companies are getting more and more into data. Most of the companies are implementing AI algorithms and all. So if that is the case, it's better to get there. The companies are receptive. Don't expect you to get data scientist job, because I'm sure when you come to me, you will say, I want 10 years worth salary, but I will do a job of a junior data scientist. I'm not going to hire you for that. But yes, you might be open for data science lead or some product manager or business analyst or architect, some role which justifies 10 years salary and all. I might be able to hire you. That data science will be add on to that, compared to with 0 to 2 to 3 years experience people. It could be the core role you'll be taking. So be clear on the roles about what you will be taking. Nobody's telling you no, that you cannot become data scientist, especially in like in top companies or even outside India. You can still become a hands-on programmer. I have a couple of programmers directly working for me in US and in Europe, who are 20 years experience, and they don't want to grow, they don't want to be lead, they are happy with what they are doing. So that kind of role also exists.
Great. um, Thank you for that. There's one question which I find interesting. In L&D and talent development space, how can one use data science?
Very, very interesting. I recently, about 4 months back, did a project for my learning and development team to find pattern, and we were able to do three major algorithms there. We were able to create a dashboard to see learning patterns and all, and if we found out that what are the ones which are getting more useful and all, there's a standard. But most important, what is the learning path people are taking based on their liking, and after that, how much has engagement have changed or changed. We have seen, if we allow people to choose their learning path, the engagement have gone up significantly higher rather than forcing them to do it. So that is something which we found using machine learning. And the next part, we found a pattern. People who are spending more time on learning and development are less likely to churn, less likely to leave the company. That was the second part, which was very, very interesting. And third, while learning, right, you also need to look at the soft signals. Are people doing multiply by 1.25, multiply by 1.5 for video lectures? How people are doing engagement? Plus, what time are they learning? What time are they listening to this? Those also helped us fine tune some of the content and make it easier for people. And we found the right size of content should be given to them. All of those things were done using AI and machine learning and all. And especially the area where we asked them to interact with the video as an AI based model we have created. And that also you can find expression of the person when they give the right answer, how much joy is there on the face and all. Those also can be captured. Again, a lot of opportunities are there in this learning and development also. If you can bring in computer vision, emotion, expression, nothing like it.
I think one area of talent acquisition you can look at is how do I actually hire the right talent, right? If from based on the retention study as well. So if
Yes.
there are people who are retained and who are performing well, you can just look at, use data science to understand how do I hire better. Great. That sort of brings us to the end of the session, but I hope Mukesh can stay some time longer to answer some more questions here. And to all those who want to carry on, thank you so much for attending today's session. I have just shared a link with you to be able to share your feedback with us about today's session, and we will ensure that we take your points in. Meanwhile, the others can definitely stay back and continue for some more time on the Q&A. But thank you so much for taking our time. Thanks, Mukesh, for answering all the questions so nice, so beautifully and patiently so far. I'd like to take a few more questions if you're up.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. You can also go through all the questions. We have about 20 open questions. If there's something that you really want to pick up, we can do that. There's one question asked by Devi. She says, "I'm a data engineer, good at coding, data structures, algorithms, with machine learning and deep learning understanding. But I feel I'm stuck in this role currently, and I want to grow from the data engineer role that she currently is in. Is there any course that you can take to do projects related to MLAI to advance in a career, to become a machine learning engineer?"
Yeah. See, I think the answer is in very straightforward. Primarily because if you see, you are already doing in data engineering, so I would not use the word stuck. Normally, what the tendency is that managers would love to have, if you are a good performer, they will not like you to leave. That's the best part, right? So even if they want to help you, they will say, if I allow you to go to a different group, I may lose you, right? So that's what they will do. But having said that, in the same company, when you have open discussion with the manager, say that I want to get into data science and I'm doing this course now at Upgrade, and they will respect that part. If not, there are enough jobs available. So don't let your idea, because if you, and I also changed job multiple times, even in Microsoft, I've changed multiple jobs within Microsoft. Why? Because if you don't do what you enjoy, you will feel like you are slogging and you will be dragging yourself. But if you enjoy what you do, you don't feel like working. That's what my in my 25 and a half years experience, maybe 6 months or something, there was a time where I did not enjoy what I was doing. Every time I was enjoying what I was doing, and I felt that I'm doing a hobby and somebody's paying me for my hobby.
I hope everybody gets to feel like that when in whatever work they do. It's the best feeling to carry work on with. Great. I think Akshay is asking, and I see a few more questions about people who are freshers,
Mhm.
absolute freshers in the working field, in the corporate field. Can we look at what they should focus on?
See, fresher, I think the opportunity is very clear for fresher, right? So in the either you would have got a job directly when you're doing placement. During our time, the placement option was not there. I didn't even hear the word placement, by the way. But then now you have option that placement will happen. Plus, if you do this course, right, you are a differentiator. Now people when they have option, you hire a fresher, core skills, some basic skills directly you hire, or you hire a fresher with data science. So you say the choice is very obvious for the hiring manager and the HR, that I can have somebody who is ready-made, already knowing data science, become easier for them to hire. Opportunities are huge, enormous. If you go to LinkedIn, you will see a lot of opportunities for fresher, 0, 1, 2, 3 year experience in the data science field, specifically data scientist roles. You will get enough opportunities are there. In fact, even with 7 to 10 years experience, also huge opportunity for lead roles as well in data science.
Great, thank you. And I think Akshay has also asked the question previously, asking about, how I don't have a master's degree. Is it must for starting a career in data science? It's not a must. It just helps you put you ahead of the curve slightly, right? Because there could be so many other graduates. However, it's not a degree which is absolutely needed. It just helps you. Do have the right experience to start your career in, because everybody, even I mean, it's a catch-22 situation where you want experience to gain experience, and people ask you, okay, what's your experience like in the field already when beginning? So the master's program that we have at Upgrad, that is clubbed with a lot of live projects and capstone project, which helps you, have live hands-on experience so that you can use it in your interviews. Mhm.
Great.
Great. I think I see a few questions around one payment, uh, payment and data science um, overlap, which means all the fintech space
Yes.
overlap with data science. I think that is one area that I see questions in, and then I see the overlap between data science and machine learning and AI. So those
Yeah.
are two types of questions I see currently.
Sure. See this part, right? So always this question is, what is data science? What is machine learning? What is analytics? What is artificial intelligence? Deep learning? And there's a lot of discussion overlap. Some people say AI is part of machine learning. Some people say machine learning is part of AI and all. See, there are all, because this is still a new area. A lot of people have this their own views around those. But for me, the view is very simple. At the core is data. Data by itself has zero meaning. Data has meaning only when you have information on top of it. But information also doesn't tell you more unless you have pattern, the last historical data. And your historical data, you can find insights, what happened, why happened, and you start tagging. By the way, tagging is called supervised learning. Okay, historical data is called machine learning. Okay, so as you can see, it's normal tendency from data. You come into insights. You come after that analytics. After that, you comes into machine learning. And after machine learning, if you're able to give some recommendation, that's artificial intelligence. And if you're able to create a lot more this, of course, advanced artificial intelligence, deep learning, and all comes handy over there. And that's why you start to a point where you start taking action. Artificial intelligence taking action also. So that's how the whole growth happens. So think in that direction. First and foremost is, can you collect the data? Can you make meaning out of it? Can you predict? And then so on.
Absolutely. Data by itself, of course, you have to put it in a context for it to make sense. And some of the things that Mukesh, I mean, did not touch upon is always you have to go ahead and do data cleaning first to be able to, get to the right set of data to be able to do your analysis on that. That usually forms the first step. Uh, cool, great. I think you answered a lot of questions, which were how is it correlated with AI, and what is it, what are the opportunities for machine learning, etc. I'll pick up two last questions.
Okay.
One is about I'm interested in a career change into data analytics, and the person is currently doing Power BI and SQL, learning Power BI and SQL. So because of COVID, she or he had to take a career break. So any way to get started beyond this?
Yeah. So you're already doing something in Power BI. So you're already getting to the point which you are doing visualization. So visualization, there are two elements of visualization. One is actually doing the visualization in Power BI, and the second one which goes underneath, which is the data modeling. Okay. Now Power BI you can do based on the data which only provide you insights, slicing and dicing and all. If you want to take it to the next level, you would notice Power BI also support Python. Power BI also supports some machine learning models. Okay, so what you can do is start, once you learn this machine learning model, you can enhance your thing and you go a little bit 1-2 layer in the backend also to see how the data come in the first place. So now not just you're showing what happened, but you can say if this trend continues with this model, it will go this much, and if you change the model, it will go this much, and so on. So people can take better decisions on Power BI, because yes, at some point it was called business intelligence few years back, but nowadays it is actually becoming artificial intelligence, which means it is actually helping you take business decisions on those. So forecasting becomes more and more important, and Power BI is a great tool. I love Power BI. I've been using the right form of the beta version of Microsoft. We have been using this. So this definitely is a good tool you are using.
Very interesting. One very interesting question I see is I have a master's degree and I'm currently working as a data engineer. Is it better to work for a consulting firm or an end client? Because this person has offers from both and is not sure which one to pick.
So I'll tell you, I done all the three type of roles. Top companies, product companies like Microsoft, I worked there. Then end client like Jio, I worked at Jio as well. Okay. And third one, consulting company. People ask me, okay, after working for product company for 23 years, why did you choose consulting company? Because I wanted to have the client interaction. Okay. So now, depending on what phase of life you are, what phase of experience you are, you can choose. I would say each one of has its own charm, own merit. So that's why I decided to join consulting company so that I can interact with the client, solve more problem. So you decide on those. Consulting company will give you more exposure to talk to more clients. You have to also look at it financial element. It could be slightly less than end client, slightly less, but I could be wrong. You do the math and then you decide.
Great. Thank you so much. Is there any question that you see you want to take up from the Q&A?
Sure, I can take that. I saw one question like data science in real estate. Definitely that's an area also. Recently, a real estate company consulted me, asking me to get some advice on that area. Definitely, that's a big area because real estate booming in India, especially after COVID have happened. Definitely, a lot of things can be done in that area. 10 years non-IT break. Okay, this is I've covered already. What kind of opportunities are there in not having experiences? The software people who don't have experience. See, software people already have some good exposure, good experience. So you're already doing well as a software person. But yes, in case you want to get into a little bit more enhancing the skills so that you are above your peers, okay, at the same level. That's why you will probably need to get into machine learning today or tomorrow. In few months, somebody will come to you and say, "Hey, Priyanka, you have to start putting this code so that somebody can do machine learning." So either you are doing machine learning or you're writing the code for somebody else to do machine learning. It will come one day. That's what some of the first letter I wrote in Microsoft white paper was about performance, how we should be able to capture performance of every data, of every software. And this is what an article has been published. Also, the actionable data article I talked about 4 or 5 days back, I published it in Express Computer. So it talks about all of those parts. How do you capture this? So as a software engineer, you will end up capturing the data anyways. So if you want to get into machine learning, this is a good time. Cool.
Great.
I see some more question. Let me just take one more question and then we should be okay. Okay, 1 second. No, not here. Here it is. Okay. Last year graduate. I have background in data science, but I don't have master's degree. Most other data science job ask for. See, anonymous. What my experience has been until few years back, people were asking for PhD for data science. PhD. Why? The very few jobs are there, and then some PhDs were available, and they were highly paid. But then they thought, no, everybody can use data science. Become very, very easy. So they immediately lowered from PhD to graduates with some training. That's what the current trend is. I have not seen many places. Yes, there are some places. There are many places who ask for masters. I will use a phrase in Hindi than in English. If you see a job posting which says masters, still go and apply. पूछने में क्या जाता है? In English, there is no harm in asking. Just apply and see. You might be lucky there. When I got into Microsoft, the requirement clearly says master's degree with this many years experience and C++. I did not knew C++. I did not knew masters. I did not knew headmaster, and I only had 3 years experience. पूछने में क्या जाता है? And I got into Microsoft.
Great. So take on the challenges and go ahead and apply, and keep learning every day. And of course, you attending such a session is first step into you wanting to change your career and transition and move ahead in your career. So all the best and congratulations for that first step. Now the next steps, of course, you can listen to so many beautiful things that Mukesh already mentioned. You can go to our Upgrad website and check out our different programs and see what suits your need the best currently wherever you are in your career. So great. Thank you so much, Mukesh, for this wonderful session. Always a pleasure having you. And for everybody who attended the session, thank you for your feedback. And
thank you and all the best.
thank you.
Bye.